Hi there, Coach Alexa here. I had a wonderful conversation with a good friend of mine earlier today, talking about a recent challenge that he has been training for, been giving him a little bit of help with, and that he kicked off about 3 weeks ago. It was going to be a several week long endurance challenge, and he didn't finish it. And we had an interesting conversation about failure and our fear of failure. I think often, it's certainly the case for me, I'm very goal driven, but I'm also very outcome driven. Personality wise, I probably don't like to give things a go if I don't think I've got a reasonable confidence level of doing them. And the conversation we had was around, well, what does that hold people back from? What does that hold me back from? The challenge that he set himself was a massive challenge, and yes, training for it and planning for it, and if things all go well and you've got a lot of luck on your side, then great. But I think the bigger the challenge, the more unknowns there are, the more things that you can't fully prepare for, the more likely you are to get curveballs and stuff that just crops up. And so that failure risk creeps up and up with the more sort of unknowns, the longer it is, the further away from civilization it is, etc. And it was great that despite that huge initial disappointment and kind of, anger and upset, he's already now, a few days after he's come back home, thinking about, well, what can I learn from that? Actually learned a load of great things. Learned that I need a different tent. Learned that I need to have a different food strategy. Learned that, maybe doing this thing entirely self-supported, just the amount of food you have to carry is not feasible. So, there's always good things that you learn that you'll do again, and things that you learn that you might change from trying anything like this. But it really did get me thinking about if we allow ourselves the option to not finish, to fail, how many more things might we actually try in future? It's an interesting one. I ended up comparing it to another conversation I had around a week ago, getting lots of inquiries through about people wanting to run the London Marathon this year. Now it's about coming up to 5 months away. And this chap had never run a marathon before and one of the questions he asked me was if I could guarantee that I could help him run a sub 3 hour time at the London Marathon, his first marathon. And I said, no, can't guarantee anything. I can give you the best possible training that I can for you. That might not be a physical possibility for you. It depends on a lot of other stuff that you do that I don't have any control over, like cross training, strength training, sleep, what you're eating, how many hours a day you're spent sat down at work. And also there are a lot of unknowns, particularly the first time you try anything. So I had a first marathon, particularly at somewhere like London, not the most amazing PB course in the world. Huge number of unknowns there. But now reflecting back after the conversation I had with my friend this morning, it's interesting that people were trying to go for that certainty. What if that gentleman I spoke to last week didn't get his sub 3 marathon at his first ever marathon in London? Would that have not been deemed a success? It's still a success to run your first marathon. It's interesting, isn't it, how we frame things? And it's made me think a lot personally about my fear of failure, my wanting to do things well, which is a personality trait that has been with me for many decades, and whether that in itself holds me back from actually trying stuff, giving it a go, messing things up, learning great things about myself and what I'm trying to do, and doing something again. Food for thought.